Ty Borden is back. Yes, you heard that right. The character we all thought was gone forever has returned, and in a way that has left fans crying, cheering, and questioning everything. Heartland's season 19 premiere didn't just bring a surprise. It delivered an emotional storm. People who stopped watching after Ty's death are now coming back. Why? Because this episode gave us something we never thought we'd see again. Ty Borden standing, breathing, and looking at his family with the same warmth that made us fall in love with him in the first place. Ty Borden was never just a character. From the very first season, he was the heart of Heartland, strong, kind, and quietly brave. He came to the ranch as a troubled teen with a rough past, but he grew into a man who was not only trustworthy but deeply loved by everyone at Heartland, especially Amy. Their relationship, full of slow-burn romance, shared struggles, and unshakable loyalty, became the emotional center of the show. Over the years, we watched Ty grow. He went from being the ranch hand to a respected veterinarian. He faced everything from personal trauma to wild horses to dangerous rescues in the snowy mountains. But through it all, Ty never gave up. He fought for his future and for the people he loved, especially Amy and their daughter, Lyndy. Then came the moment that broke the fandom, Season 14, Episode 1. After surviving a gunshot wound at the end of Season 13, Ty suddenly collapsed and died from a blood clot. Just like that, the man who had carried the show's emotional weight was gone. Fans were shocked, devastated, and many stopped watching altogether. It didn't feel real. How could Heartland continue without Ty? How could Amy heal from something so painful? Amy's grief journey in the seasons that followed was raw and powerful. She tried to be strong for Lyndy, for Jack, for everyone, but it was clear something in her was gone. Her smiles were softer, her eyes a little heavier. Jack, too, struggled with the loss of a boy he had come to love like a son. The ranch didn't feel the same. The show didn't feel the same. Still, Heartland pushed on. Amy worked through her pain with horses and nature. She focused on her daughter and found strength in family. And little by little, fans started to see glimpses of the old warmth return. But even then, Ty's absence was always there, like a shadow in every frame. So when Season 19 was announced, there was quiet hope but no real expectations. No one thought Ty could come back. It was just too final, too real. But then came the twist no one saw coming. In Episode 1, a figure appears in the distance, a familiar silhouette, a man walking toward Heartland Ranch. And when the camera gets closer, it's him, Ty Borden, alive, breathing, real. No flashback, no dream, no fantasy, just Ty. The moment is quiet. No music, just the sound of the wind and footsteps. Amy stands frozen, her hands shake. Jack walks out of the barn, dropping the tools in his hand. Lyndy peeks from behind her mother, eyes wide. And then the tears come, first from Amy, then Jack, and finally, Ty himself. What happened? Where has he been? Why now? These questions fill the air. But in that moment, no one cares about the answers. Ty is home, and for the first time in years, the family feels whole again. Sometimes, the most powerful moments in life don't come with loud music or dramatic speeches. They come in silence. They come with a look, a breath, a step forward. That's how it happened. That's how Ty Borden came back. The episode doesn't open with his return. It makes us wait. The first few minutes feel normal: Amy feeding the horses, Jack fixing a fence, and Lyndy asking questions that seem innocent at first. Then something shifts. A phone rings. Jack answers, but whoever's on the other end doesn't say much, just a few words, and then silence. Jack's face tightens. He says nothing to Amy, but we can tell something's coming. Later that day, Amy takes a quiet walk toward the edge of the ranch, just like she's done hundreds of times since Ty died. But this time, it's different. The camera pulls wide, showing the empty dirt path. And then, a shape appears. It's far away at first, almost like a shadow. Amy blinks. The wind picks up. The shape keeps walking. He doesn't run. He doesn't wave. He just walks slow, steady, almost careful, as if unsure whether he belongs. When the camera finally cuts to his face, There's no mistake. It's Ty. Older, yes. A bit thinner. A beard he never had before. But the eyes, those are the same. Amy doesn't speak. Her knees give slightly, and she grips the fence beside her. For a second, it seems like she might pass out. Then Jack appears behind her. He doesn't ask anything. He just stares. You can almost hear his heart pounding through the screen. Lyndy runs up behind them, curious. She sees the man walking closer and asks, "Mommy, who is that?" Amy falls to her knees. The camera doesn't rush. It holds the moment like it knows we need time to believe. No dramatic music, just wind, footsteps, and emotion. Ty finally stops, just a few feet away from the family. He looks at Amy like he's seeing her for the first time and the 100th time all at once. He whispers, "I didn't know if I'd make it back." Jack steps forward, tears already welling up. "We thought you were gone, son." And then, finally, Amy speaks. Her voice cracks. "How? Ty, how is this real?" At this point, the show could have gone full soap opera. But Heartland stays grounded. Ty's return isn't explained with some wild twist. It's slow and believable, mysterious, yes, but deeply emotional. We learn that after the blood clot scare in season 14, there was more going on than anyone knew. Ty had complications that weren't caught in time. He collapsed, yes, but in this version of the story, someone saved him. He was taken to a remote care facility in northern Alberta. His memory was damaged. He had no idea who he was. For years, he drifted in and out of confusion. It wasn't until recently, after new treatments, that his memories started returning. Not all at once. A horse, a smile, the smell of hay, the name Amy. He began to ask questions. He began to remember, and once he remembered, he found his way home, not through some grand mission, not with a rescue team or a heroic return. He just walked, traveled slowly, tracked down the ranch like a man chasing a ghost, and when he arrived, that ghost wasn't a ghost at all. It was his family. Amy doesn't ask more right away. She just touches his face like she's trying to confirm he's real. Lyndy, not fully understanding, hugs his leg like it's the most natural thing in the world. Jack puts a hand on Ty's shoulder and pulls him into a tight, silent embrace. It lasts longer than any hug on the show before. No words can match the weight of this moment. This is the kind of return that doesn't scream. It whispers, it aches, and it heals. But the return brings questions too. Not everyone will understand. Not everyone will trust this miracle. And some wounds don't close overnight. Still, for now, Ty Borden is back, and that's enough to shake the world of Heartland to its core. It wasn't the kind of reunion you see in movies. There were no cheers, no dramatic music, just stillness, like time itself had paused to make room for one impossible truth. Ty was really home. That night at Heartland, the house wasn't filled with celebration. It was quiet. Everyone moved slowly, carefully, as if a single wrong word might wake them from a dream they didn't want to leave. Ty sat at the kitchen table, the same table he'd once laughed at, cried at, fought beside. Now, his fingers traced the wood grain like it was a map leading him back to his life. Amy sat across from him, eyes never leaving his face. She didn't bombard him with questions. She just studied him. Every blink, every breath, every small movement of his hands. As if she was trying to memorize him all over again. In the corner, Jack leaned against the wall, arms folded but not in anger. In awe. You could see it in his eyes. He didn't know whether to smile or break down. Eventually, he stepped forward, pulled out a chair, and sat next to Ty. He didn't say, "I missed you." He didn't say, "Where have you been?" All he said was, "You hungry?" Ty gave the smallest smile. "Starving." And just like that, Heartland started to breathe again. It was over dinner that things began to soften. Lou arrived after a panicked phone call from Amy. She stormed through the front door, expecting disaster. But instead, she found something far stranger, a miracle. At first, she froze. Then she whispered, "Ty," and covered her mouth with her hands. Her eyes filled instantly. She didn't even sit down. She just walked to him and wrapped her arms around his shoulders from behind. "You don't know how many nights we prayed," she said. Ty nodded, emotion tightening in his throat. Maybe someone heard you. Later, Tim showed up, skeptical. As always, he was the last to walk in, boots heavy on the wooden floor, his eyes searching Ty's like he was trying to see through a lie. But the lie never came, just silence, and then a long, firm handshake that turned into a hug. Not a soft one, but a deep, almost desperate kind, like a man who didn't get the chance to say goodbye and refuses to waste the second chance. But the real moment, the one that tore through the hearts of viewers, came when Lyndy crawled onto her father's lap. She looked up at him and said, very softly, "Are you my real daddy?" Everyone in the room stopped. Ty took a deep breath. "Yes, sweetheart, I am." She reached up and touched his beard, giggling a little. "You look different." He smiled. "I feel different, but I'm still yours." Amy turned away for a moment, wiping tears before they could fall. Jack closed his eyes and whispered something under his breath. Maybe a prayer, maybe a thank you. In that moment, there was no more need for explanations. No timelines, no medical charts or news stories. Just one undeniable truth. The family had been broken, and somehow it was whole again. Later, as the stars appeared over the ranch, Ty and Amy stood outside on the porch, the same porch where they once danced, once argued, once kissed under the snowfall. Amy turned to him. "You don't know how many nights I stood right here, looking out, waiting for you, even after I knew I shouldn't." Ty nodded slowly. "I know, I felt it." She leaned her head on his shoulder, and for the first time in years, the world didn't feel heavy anymore. It felt like home. But not everything would be easy. This return, beautiful as it was, would bring pain too. Questions, fears, doubts from the town, whispers in the background. People would wonder how it all happened, whether it was real, whether it would last. But for now, for tonight, none of that mattered. Ty was alive. Amy was no longer alone. Lyndy had her father, and Heartland had its heartbeat again. The silence of the night wasn't empty anymore. He was full of healing. It wasn't just Ty who came back. When he walked through that gate, something else returned with him, something bigger, something the show hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. For seasons, Heartland was still beautiful, still heartfelt, but something was missing. It was like the sky was a little more gray, the music a little more distant. Amy tried to stay strong, but her smiles had an ache behind them. Jack's advice felt heavier. Even the ranch itself seemed quieter. But now, things feel different. Ty's return doesn't just rewrite the story, it restarts it. Suddenly, the future isn't about what's been lost, but what might still be found, what might be built again. And here's the truth. Heartland has never been about big plot twists or cliffhangers. It's about people, about healing, and about second chances. Ty Borden standing on that land again is the biggest second chance the show has ever given us. And it opens the door to everything that once felt impossible. So what happens now? Amy and Ty will need to rebuild their relationship, not from scratch, but from silence. Years apart left cracks, even in a love as deep as theirs. Amy has changed. She's stronger, more guarded. Ty has changed too. He's seen things, lived through a fog of memory and confusion. There will be pain, and probably distance at first. But if we know anything about those two, it's that their love doesn't break. It bends, it stretches, and when it snaps, it finds its way back. For Lyndy, this is the beginning of a whole new story. A little girl who only knew her father from stories and photos now gets to live those moments in real time. Morning chores, bedtime hugs, horseback rides with her dad by her side. It's a dream come true for her. And watching Ty try to be the father he's longed to be since the day she was born, that alone could carry a whole season. But there's more. Jack, the Rock of Heartland, now has a second shot at guiding Ty, not just as a ranch hand or vet, but as a husband, a father, a man recovering from loss. Their bond was always more than just family. It was forged through work, through shared pain, through unspoken love. Now we get to see them rediscover that bond, and maybe even deepen it. Then there's Lou, whose role as mayor and mother has kept her busy but who has always made room for the people she loves. With Ty back, Lou may reevaluate what really matters. Family, unity, simplicity. things she's drifted from in her career-driven life. Ty's return could be the mirror that helps her remember where she came from and why she stayed. The ripple effect could go even wider. Georgie, away chasing her Olympic dreams, will eventually hear the news. And when she does, will she come back? Will she want to stand in the same room with the man she once called brother, with the family that raised her? Ty's return could be the thread that brings all the missing pieces back to Heartland. Even Tim, stubborn, unpredictable, full of pride, will have to face his own ghosts. For years, he's carried guilt about the past, about things he couldn't fix. But watching Ty walk through that door may force Tim to look at his own story again, and finally forgive the things he's kept buried. And let's not forget the ranch itself. Heartland has always been more than land and fences. It's a home, a heartbeat, a place where healing begins and love endures. With Ty back, the ranch comes alive in a new way. Horses respond to him. The rhythm of the land feels steadier. There's laughter in the barn again, warmth in the kitchen, life in the sunrise. So where does Heartland go from here? Not backward, not in circles, forward. Together, with Ty's return, Season 19 doesn't just continue the story, it starts a new chapter. One where past pain and future hope walk side by side. Where healing takes time, but love never runs out. Where every character, young or old, broken or brave, has a chance to grow again. And for the fans who stuck around, or the ones coming back after so much time away, this is the moment you were waiting for. The heart of Heartland has been restored, and the story is just beginning. That's what Heartland has always been about, not just life on a ranch, but the quiet power of family, of forgiveness, and of finding your way back home. And now, with Ty Borden's return, this story has found its heartbeat once more. We watched him fall in love, fight for his future, become a father, and then we lost him. But now, in a twist none of us saw coming, we've been given what so few stories ever dare to offer: a second chance. This episode didn't just revive a character, it reminded us why we watched in the first place. Not for the drama, not for the shock, but for the warmth, the quiet strength, the way this show understands grief, love, and hope better than most. And maybe that's why this moment matters so much, because if Ty Borden can find his way back after all that time, all that loss, maybe we can too. Maybe we can believe in home again, in healing, in reunion. The ranch is alive again, the family is whole again, and Heartland is Heartland again. If you haven't seen Season 19, Episode 1 yet, watch it, feel it, let it move you. And if this story touched your heart, tell us in the comments. What did Ty's return mean to you? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because this is just the beginning, and you won't want to miss what comes next. Sometimes, the heart comes back stronger, and when it does, you know you're home.